Welcome to Talkin' with Dave. Here's Dave.
Hey, how we doing out there? I hope you're doing great. I am top shelf myself. It's been such a good few weeks. I'm a lucky dude. We just got two. If I look a little tired, we just got two new boxer puppies. 9 weeks. They are so cute. We still have Ruby, of course. She's thinking, why would you do this to me? Why, Dave? I thought we were buddies. Two males, 9 weeks old, Waylon and Willie. If you've already seen them, if you're on Instagram or TikTok or any of that stuff. So, but yeah, if I have to dodge right or left, it's because they're either chewing on my shoes or cords or something, just to let you know. That's part of why I'm in such a good mood, though. And what we're going to talk about today is happy place, my happy place. And it's not just my happy place. We all need one. If you don't have one, you got to find one. I think you got one, though, at least one. And it's several things have been called. That's part of it's a bit of a buzzword in this family, happy place. It's we'll talk through it, but we will dub something our happy place. And it's something it's like a sanctuary. Here's where I go for this or that or the other, something I really enjoy, or when I am at my most content, whatever that is, or all of the above. To me, it's very important that you have one and you know where it is. So we'll talk through it. I'll have a few stories along the way, but there's several things that I want to talk about. So what am I talking about when I talk about a happy place? It's just couldn't be a physical place or a state of mind where you go that it may give you joy. It may be a retreat or a sanctuary, like I said. It could be just a relief from stress or noise or whatever. It can be real or imagined, all of these things. But it allows you to put your busy mind on pause for a little bit. You maybe use it to relax or recharge your batteries. I think it's essential. We got a lot going on. We got a lot of important things to do. And if we can go to our happy place every now and then, nice. Okay, I'm ready. And we don't have to go there just when we're stressed or things get crazy. A lot of times that is the goal, is to get there. Maybe the end of the day or at our lunch break, or maybe your happy place is in the car, cranking up some metal. All right, whatever. No one can define your happy place for you. So I'll get back to that. But different happy places. I talk about this in group settings, and I ask people to share. And usually it takes a bit. It takes a bit for them to almost relax enough to talk about it or be vulnerable enough to talk about it. But they come out. And I hear a lot of natural settings. The beach. The beach is my happy place. Surfers. I've never been around surfers till I moved to California. And even then it was one thing, but when I moved close to the beach, if there were no waves, there was no happiness, which is not the best situation in the world. But, beaches, that's a lot for a lot of people. I know my family, when we would go to the beach, I'm talking about when I was a kid, my sisters and mom and dad, the beach was definitely one of their happy places. And that, in turn, gave me a love for that. The mountains, same thing. As a child, we used to go to Gatlinburg. You try to go when the leaves are changing, then everybody else goes there. But there's a certain feeling about getting outside and enjoying that. And I love them both. I really do. You don't have to have just one. I think you're very fortunate if you have many happy places. Yeah. Then a lot of people, they're not real. They're imaginary. Some people all they want to do, get me a cup of coffee or tea or whatever you're drinking and curl up with a book and get lost in fiction or imagination or video games. Those have gotten so realistic, it's threatening the real world. And then a lot of times we talk about imaginary, it's just, I know people who will, they'll go in a quiet room and just meditate. And their happy place is thinking about nothing. Nothing. I know I was exposed to it for the first time. I haven't done it myself, but I have some friends who they would go to this place. It's total darkness, and they would lay in like a saltwater shallow tub, and they just lay there, total darkness, and they would actually float. And that was a form of meditation. Not my happy place, but then again, it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. And then sometimes it's just personal spaces. It could be a place in your house. I've told you about out back with a cup of coffee in the morning by the table, and it's so calm. It's so quiet. And sometimes it's not the silence. You can hear the birds or, certain sounds that are so peaceful. Like one of those sound machines. You can dial it up. And then, maybe at different ages, different things. I mean, it could be a study space. It could be, if you love research and you're really into something. I have met people, I was not one of these people, but unless they're into something, doing something productive, which sounds like it's the opposite of a happy space, that was their happy place. I think it's great. And some people, it's not just a quiet moment. It's doing something. I talked about surfing earlier, but it could be, going to the gym. I've got some friends, the studio, just being able to go in and create, and either the planned or the spontaneity, they've never been happier. Or, a lot of men, they'll have a workshop or working on cars, whatever that is. So they're very activity, and you don't have to be alone. We'll talk about how to protect it in a minute. But then there's also, I know my mom and even some of my other relatives, their happy place is when the house is full of screaming, running kids that were cooking, just total pandemonium. My mom was never happier, but that was her. That's what she longed for and strived for. And it can be different things like that. A lot of people have religious happy places, and they'd rather be in that type of. So there is no limit to that, and no one can tell you what your happy place is. Oh, we were talking. My wife and I were talking about. We got an anniversary coming up. Talking about some of the places we had traveled to, and where do we want to go back, and just talking about those places. We went to a nice place, and maybe have sentimental value. The farm where my granddad, my mom and papa lived, such a sentimental place to me. It's hard for me to go there now because they're not there, but it brings back so many memories, and I find myself just standing, looking at certain areas and taking that in. So special, and you go away in a different state than when you got there. A lot of times. And I think most times. Every time. In some degree. And that's why happy places are so important. We lived in San Diego, and I remember Steph took some sort of class. I don't remember what it was, but it came back with a plaque, a ceramics class. Came back with a plaque that said happy place. And we put it back there by the tree. Stayed back there, and then I remember when we talked about moving, it's, we can't leave our happy place. But this is our happy place. No, it is a happy place. That plaque's out back now at our new happy place. So there's a lot of things that go into this. It can be I believe it is a very personal thing. You can share it, but it is very personal thing, and it's very important. Why is this so important? Just a few reasons. Depending on what the use for it is, it should be a place that takes away or reduces your stress or anxiety or worry, whatever you've got going on that's got you tied up in knots. The happy place that you can untie those knots. Also, it's just, along with the stress and worry and distraction, talked about that before, there's an emotional toll you're going to pay if you don't have a happy place. There is. It's going to get to you. You've got to, and that place may be something that just helps you get away from it for a little while. It gives you perspective. Anything else that gets your mind off of it. And it could be a place like we talked about. It could be a place in your house. You may be having a spat with the spouse. Spat with the spouse. Say that 5 times real fast. Maybe it's your happy place could be, a place in your house you can just go to and just get away from. And maybe you just want to think about it. Let me think these things through. There's some dangers in this too, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But it helps you regulate your emotions, somewhere you can get away. And it brings, regulating your emotions. And then sometimes it's, okay, I've got all of this on my mind. I am in the rafters on this. You can go to your happy place. Let's think this through. It's not just a place for quiet. It's a place to get away. I can get some clarity here. Or maybe it's, you're doing something else and it can boost creativity. I know Mark Cohn, when he wrote Walking in Memphis, he got away from everything, just went on a trip to Memphis. And that was a sanctuary from all of this. It was a happy place, and it sparked creativity. So either way, that's a lot of times we need that. And then sometimes it's just to reassess what's going on. How am I doing? I feel like I'm good. How am I doing? What can I do better? That's a lot of times this is a great use for that. And to understand that, I'm probably not as great as I think I am. I'm not as bad either. Whatever journey you're on in that regard, that's what a happy place is for. And then, truly, a lot of people, they will go out, and I know I said earlier, your happy place could be a gym. It could be, doing physical fitness things, but that different kind of happy place, that calm, that retreat, that sanctuary, takes care of that stress and that worry and gives you clarity. That has real physical effects on you. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you're going to sleep better. It helps your blood pressure, your immune system, all of this by reducing that stress and worry, being tied up in knots. Using your happy place or your therapeutic sanctuary physically, it's going to make you better. So there's, I try to get less than emotional, more than just emotional things. There's some real hard facts around that. And the thing about it, you just take a second and think about your happy places. I'll say them out loud, not that you care about mine necessarily, but I've talked about the one outside. To go, honestly, the road to some degree has become a happy place for me because I can think. I remember when I used to cut grass, that was the time it was not a lot of skill involved. You're pushing a lawnmower, but I would think. And so sometimes I will have these things on my mind and I will think, okay, I got a 4-hour drive tomorrow. I'll sort this out then. And then you put that on tomorrow. You don't have to deal with it now. You can deal with some other things. So to some degree, that is a happy place. And these aren't just things that you enjoy. However, when I am with my kids, depending on what it is, it may not be a happy place. But when we've planned something and executing that and it happens like you wanted to and you see the joy, you take so much out of that. And you're not thinking about anything else. You're not thinking about any of the troubles that were getting you yesterday. So think about those times. I know people in music. I know people who love to camp. I know people love to ride horse. All of these things. You've got to protect these things. You have to. So some threats to your happy place, and know what they are. If you overcommit yourself, if you plan your schedule so tight, you've got no time for the important things, that's a threat. And we've talked about this over and over, learning to say no. protect that happy place and the time that you want to spend there. Setting boundaries around that. So don't overcommit. You're going to burn out. And the more you burn out, the more you're going to need. You're going to need that place. Relationships. This is the same list, guys. Over and over, I tell you. Don't overplan. Don't burn yourself out. Your toxic relationships. They will destroy your happy place. All the toxic people, negative social interactions, it's going to take you longer to recover from that. Maybe you just have a tense conversation with a friend. That can happen at any time. Don't destroy your calm place with all of these things. I remember what talking about destroying your happy place. We went to the Bristol night race. Anybody in NASCAR knows, oh, you dog. And I'm not a huge NASCAR fan. I appreciate it, but someone got us tickets and we stayed. We walked to the race. Steph had never been to one. So the Bristol night race is 3/4 mile track. So it's not vroom, 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 vroom. Then you wait for the cars to get back. No, it's wow, wow, wow. Well, first few laps, oh, okay, this is cool. We couldn't talk to each other. We couldn't hear anything. We were all cramped in there. It was beautiful to me, but not that beautiful to her. And I know we got up to lap 50, and she was like, okay, that's it. And because she had seen 5-0 somewhere, I said, no, it's 500. 500. And afterwards she said, I just had to go to my happy place. And then she said, I went to my happy place so many times, I've ruined my happy place. So don't bring all this bad stuff into your happy place. You're going to tense it all up. If I sit out back with my cup of coffee in the morning and think about all the things that are going wrong or mess it up with toxic relationships or people that I haven't deselected, you stand to ruin your happy place. If your happy place is camping and toxic people come there, or you're invited, or whatever that is, yeah, it's not happy anymore. Next time you want to go camping, you're going to think about, I remember last time with, Also, information overload. This is a challenge a lot of times because people will go to, their sanctuary, and maybe it's you just want to have a drink and I'm going to catch up on this or that, and information overload. You go to social media and there's things that disturb you. That's a problem. That is a problem. Or if you don't turn your emails off, or right now during the election, if you don't protect yourself from technology or the news or who hates who or who's lying, all of this stuff, just scrolling. There's occupational therapists have talked about that, just what this motion is doing, and they're working on more hands than anything because that's not a normal movement. It is now, but we weren't built that way. So it's interesting to talk about that. But you gotta set boundaries, or you're going to destroy your happy place. And then, I talked about stress earlier, but just the worry about things. That's your sanctuary needs to be protected from that. That's why you go there. Is to get away from it. You're not going to stay there all day. No, you're just going to go there for a little while. So setting those boundaries, and whatever is stressing you, whatever is a real challenge, you've got to take a break from that. And I know there's an art to that. The more you do it, the more you'll be able to do it. Sometimes it's a favorite chair. Just think about that. A favorite chair. Oh, it's just so comfortable. I love sitting here. But it's in there with the TV. Turn the TV off. You got to protect it from things, or you will lose that as your breakaway spot. Not taking care of yourself will affect your happy place. I'm telling you, I know so many times they've talked about it ahead of time, just what they like to do. However, they're not taking care of themselves, so they're either too sleepy or they're having headaches or they've got some internal health challenges to where they can't break away for an hour or they can't break away for 30 minutes without these things impeding on that. So you got to take care of yourself. Take care of yourself, take care of your social engagements, take care of your stress, learn to compartmentalize, or that's a real threat to this place that once was a getaway for you. You can get away without ever leaving your home. So protecting that, it's treating it with respect also. So there's different ways. Those things are stresses to it. So how do we protect it? And by protect it, I mean these are non-negotiables. This is a spot this is something I choose to do for me. I'm being selfish, but yeah, I'm being selfish for everybody. Meaning, if I take care of me, I'm gonna be a better friend. I'm gonna be a better dad. I'm gonna be a better peer, collaborator, all of the above. So we've got to do certain things to protect that happy place. One is boundaries, and it goes back to several things I've already said. I mean, this is it. When I go here and do this, like. My wife knows when I come into my office and close the curtain, I'm busy. And that's not, I'm busy at all. No, it's don't come in if I got the curtain closed because I could be on a call, I could be reading, I'm easily distracted. It's just well known. It's not a hard, fast rule. If you do that, then there's dire consequences. No, it's just setting boundaries. One way that I set boundaries here is I get up early enough to where there's some things I do at that point. Now, that's not a strict boundary. That's just I know the habits of what goes on around my household. That is a great pocket of time. Some of you may need to do much more rigid boundaries or go somewhere. The only thing about, some people, I've heard people say when I write down what is your happy place, some people will say, I love to get up in the morning. I go to Starbucks. I've got my particular seat back in the corner. I've got my drink. They have it ready for me. And I just sit there, and it may be work. It may be create. It may be whatever. All right. Well, that's fantastic. There's a lot of variables out there with that. What if somebody's in your seat? What if loud people come and sit next to you and want to talk about woke stuff? There's all kinds of things. What's your fallback? So you've got to establish realistic boundaries for whatever activity, happy place stuff. If it's at home, and I got to tell you, this area here, a lot of times is my happy place. I love it. I got these screens. I got my calendars. It's great for work. It's productive. So usually, I don't consider this a happy place. This is a productive place. So a happy place, a lot of times you'll just need to make sure it is in the state it needs to be. I mean, depending on what it is, I mean, if it's an area you can control, make sure it's not all cluttered up. If you make sure it's clean, make sure maybe if it's, you got pillows, if you're doing yoga or whatever, just make sure that is your Zen area before you go. And, you not only declutter the space, but you got to declutter your mind. But anything that's unnecessary, get out of the way. Get out of the way. I remember one time I went to the back and was going to sit there and drink my coffee, and I'd forgot the day before, and we had all these inflatables because the kids had been on during the weekend, and they were just piled on my happy place. You declutter that, you get it squared away. It's fantastic. And part of that is, and it's a big part of this, is to be able to surround yourself with positive energy. It's got to be positive. And by sometimes positive is not negative, meaning this is what I needed. This is what I expected, so I can get on with why I'm here. It's very important. So surround yourself with positive energy. Don't bring negative stuff into your happy place. This could be some simple things. Simple things. This can be if you like plants or books, or if you got a favorite color, artwork. I've got the thing back there on this wall. I look at that and I could turn my chair around right now. Let's see if I can do this actively and look at that. And that'll take me through a ton of memories. We can talk more about that later. But that's little things like that can be huge. Maybe it's light music or calming sounds. Just things that invoke or provoke positive memories or feelings, something like that. You don't want the negative stuff. You don't need that. That's why you're here. Another thing, and this is massive, limit access. I mean, we talk about your happy place. It can involve other people. Yeah, the gym or the beach or whatever. You've got to control as much as you can who you bring in. We talk about toxic people or negative friends, or you can't control everybody, especially if it's a public place. There was a time when we lived in Southern California, it was just wide open. Everybody could come and go as they please. It was great. It was wonderful until it wasn't. And when it's not, if you set the precedent, it's not a happy place anymore. Or it can be for one person, but it's not for the other. Limit access. Protect it from anything negative. Because that's the opposite of happy. I could probably do a whole podcast on that one. And then I've heard the term recharge it. Recharge your place. And that's, that can be anything. We talked about declutter and organize everything, but also think of things to add to it. I know every 6 months we used to switch furniture around. It's like living in a new place. We couldn't afford new furniture. We couldn't afford a new place. We'd switch furniture around. Oh, I like this view. Oh, look at that. I never noticed that before. Okay, bring something in. Take something away. Point it toward another window, whatever the case is. But I like that term, recharge your happy place. It can make all the difference in the world. But a lot of times, I've spent more time on threats to it or how to protect it than I have anything else. And that's because how many times have you, and even thinking about this, you may have thought, oh yeah, I used to really enjoy that. Well, why don't you anymore? Maybe you've done one of these things. Or, it's a different time, different place. Yeah, I get it. But these moments, these hours, it's so important. So sometimes we have to find one or re-identify or recharge one or, change some things so that we can have that retreat or that happy place or that sanctuary that we're looking for. So in doing that, and some of you may have thought, I don't have one anymore. In your past, you can think of them as, let's find one. Let's find one. So there's just some ways to rejuvenate this in your mind is, all right, what makes you calm? What are some things that make you calm or bring you joy? Think about it. It could be activities. It could be, I know one thing that's always great for my grandmother when we would come to town, we would sit on the couch and look at pictures. A lot of times it's the same pictures for years and years. That brought her so much joy. And a lot of times when my mom would call her, she would say, what are you doing? She would, I'm sitting here looking at pictures. That's her happy place. That's a go-to. So think about it. What brings you joy or calmness? If it's reading or just being in a place or, usually TV's not the answer because but it may be for you. So whatever that is, it's writing. So, one thing is just if you make lists, I'm a big list maker, just make a list. What makes you feel relaxed? What makes you feel calm? What makes you feel happy? Those kind of things. That's going to help you find your happy place. And then another thing is, what's the opposite? What stresses you out? Make that list. What stresses you out? If you're a neat freak, okay, well, clutter's going to bother you. All right. Your happy place may be taking you away from noise, taking you away from chatter or background noise. It could be taking you to a certain thing. But the main thing now is what's on maybe it's traffic. You just want to get what stresses you out, okay? The first one's places to go. What brings you joy? What makes you calm? The second one is what doesn't. All right, so you know what to go to, but you also know what to get rid of. That's all. That's a lot of times you don't want to settle. Well, it's annoying, but I'll get over it. That's not what we want there. Another tip that I heard, and I love this, if you can do something, and this is a way to relax as well. Some people use it for meditation. Do something that incorporates all five senses. Think about that. You can a nice smell, a nice sound. Soft lighting or something that's not too aggressive with you. Something that invokes a lot of your senses. My wife loves scented candles. All day, all night, winter, spring, summer, fall. You come in and sometimes they're nice. Sometimes it's oop. Sometimes she'll say, "Ooh, don't you love that candle?" I can't smell it. But invoke as many senses as you can. For me, a plate of bacon. Are you kidding me? I'm getting calmer just thinking about it. But that's a good way, because if you're invoking these senses, you're not thinking about whatever you're trying to escape. So I really like that one. And really consider, more than one place. Now, I love the thought of having one happy place, but also it doesn't have to be one specific place, one physical location. Like I said earlier, you can mentally go to a place, with a book or video game, looking at pictures of a vacation. I really don't like the internet for this. I started to say you could go on websites and dream about where you'd like to go, but there's too many opportunities for interruption there. But maybe it's a playlist with whatever the streaming service. Will you make your playlist? Remember the old mixtapes? Make one of those and go for a walk. That way you're not interrupted by anything. You get the exercise. I know walking on the beach when I was younger, that was great. Happy place. And now you don't have to have a whole bag of batteries for your Sony Walkman, but that's great. Or backups. If you go to Starbucks and your seat's taken or whatever, what's your backup? You got to have a backup plan. So you got to be flexible. You got to be mobile sometimes and flexible. All right, can't do that, but I can do this. I think that's great. And then, I think as life moves on, you're going to need to do it. You can't force a happy place to be happy. I mean, you can take away the distractions, all the negative stuff, just like I said, but sometimes we change. And I need a new one. And that's why we talk about this. So as life changes, look for them. Look for them. I can tell you I've got some weird happy places. One happy place I love. I'll just share. I love to, when the band sets up, we do sound check, and we usually have 30 minutes to an hour before we have to play. I love to either get in the corner or at the end of the bar and just watch the people come in. See people coming in smiling, ready for a good time, ready to be entertained. I love that. And that's something that's totally different. There are many things at this point in my life it's different. I still like most of the others. After you've done it a while, though, it loses some of its spark, and you need to constantly change. So that's another one. Redefine your happy place based on your different life changes. I think these are all important. I mean, first of all, you got to know. You got to know where it is. You got to have them. You may stumble upon it. I've gone through so much scenery in the truck lately in different parts of the country I haven't been in before, and I don't mind the drive. I had a 6-hour drive yesterday. It melted away because one of the necessary things is being engaged and looking for the good. Some of you struggle with that. I get it. You'll be amazed at the different happy places. I think there's a lot of value in having a particular one to go to. It's almost like, get to the end of the day, here's what I want to do. And I've heard so many. I'll try to think of some of them. When I get home, I just want to, not me. You're going to, I just want to kick my shoes off, run a bath, and get a glass of wine and soak. That's my happy place. That sounds fantastic. There's a certain place, that people walk. Their destination is a bench with a great view. They walk to that. That's their happy place, to sit there. And when I said a true happy place, when you leave, you're in a different state of mind than when you got there. That is fantastic. And I believe that with all my heart. I've been so stressed out, and even me, and go for a walk. And a particular walk from our house to a little town called Del Mar and back. It was about a 4-mile walk. That's all it took, just to pull all of that away. All the stress, all the anxiety, whatever was going on. Usually if it's a challenge with the kids or uncertainty, whatever that was. I went to my happy place, and my happy place was a walk. I get home, I'm in a different place. A different place. So I encourage you to do all of these things, and once you find them, embrace them, and then protect the heck out of them, because you don't want anything to get in the way. I hope this has helped. The whole intention of this is to let you know, let you think about it, and then protect it. Protect it. Watch the access that you give others to it. Hope this helped. I appreciate it. Please reach out to me, David@otalks.com, Dave@otalks.com, TikTok, Instagram, all of the social media sites. Kira's still killing it. She's doing the clipping and getting it done, but I appreciate your support. But most of all, thanks for Talking with Dave. Now go to that happy place. Giddy up.